In this video, I'm demonstrating how I prepare my palette for a self-portrait that I'm making in oil colors. To start, I am mixing my darkest darks. I'm using a mixture of phthalo blue and burnt umber. Phthalo blue is a blue with very high tinting strength. Because of that, anything that you add phthalo blue to is susceptible to be taken over by the phthalo blue. In this case, that is what I want. I want to make phthalo blue from a semi-transparent color into a more opaque color, and I'm doing so by binding it to the burnt umber. This makes a very dark, very rich, very cool blue, dark blue. Next, I'm addressing the other colors that I will need in my oil portrait. I'm making a slightly lighter, more reddish tone, and I will continue to make my value matrix as I see the colors that I need in the portrait. On my palette today is the Winsor & Newton Winton colors. Because I'm using such a large canvas and I don't particularly care if the colors of my pigments match what they should be in my mind for this painting, I am using Winton colors, as many of them are not the proper pigments but rather hue colors, which are much cheaper. Because of this, you can buy a 200mm tube for much cheaper than you would from another range of colors or other oil painting brand. 200 milliliters of paint, are it's a lot of paint. It will last you for years. I've used these tubes for the whole time I've been oil painting, and I haven't replaced any of them except for the titanium whites. Part of this is I've stopped using them a few years ago, but also that 200 milliliters of paint is quite a lot of paint. You can see that I'm mixing more mid-tones, more of my highlighted tones. These are not the brightest whites that will go on the painting. That will be saved for not quite pure white, but a slightly different, slightly off shade white that will be used for my highlights for when the light reflects from shiny surfaces. I use phthalo blue in my skin tones. This is something that I learned when I first started oil portrait painting. It is not a common practice, nor is it one that I recommend. This is because, again, phthalo blue is a very strong tinting blue, and if you use just a touch too much, it will be too much. But in this case, I do want a cool, muddy, warm tone for some of the paintings. I will add it in for my base tones. Nearly every color has just the slightest touch of phthalo blue in it. As you can see with this tone, I've started with a bit too much blue. And this is okay because we can correct. It just takes a lot of paint, which is why having a large volume of paint does help with managing your more powerful tinting colors.